I watched E3 for the first time in the year 2013, and little me loved it. Ever since then, I would always be prepared to watch each annual show. It really felt like a highlight of the summer. I wouldn't watch every major presentation that would go down, but I would pay attention to what is happening. In fact, it became my dream to actually go and visit E3 and actually get to live that experience in person. As many described it, it was like a holiday for video games. Each year was truly something special, regardless of whether the past year was better or not. In 2020, due to the COVID pandemic, E3 was cancelled. The following 2 years, it was cancelled again, although it was announced that it would return in 2023. So here we are in 2023, and yes, it is still happening. An overwhelming majority of people who tune into E3 are there to see the big three: Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. Sony actually withdrew from E3 in 2019 and might do it again this year, but hey, it's not the worst, because we still have Oh, you have got to be Welcome to another video on this channel. So yes, according to exclusive reports, neither of the big three, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, will not be a part of this year's E3. I mean, that is literally the defining thing about E3. That is like making pasta without the sauce. Where is the flavor? So, the plan for this video is to go through this IGN article and be able to draw some thoughts from it, and along with that, look into why E3 has been on a decline. So let's take a look. So, looking at this article, the article states that E3's first physical event in 4 years was supposed to be a triumphant return for the trade show, an opportunity to recapture some of the excitement of past conventions, which historically have been major showcase events for the games industry. In case you have never really tuned into E3 that much, E3 is a big deal for the game industry. It is like the event for the game industry, until, well, I guess nowadays, considering its like downfall, I guess the Game Awards has taken that spot. And then it says, however, it appears that when E3 2023 hits the Los Angeles Convention Center in June, it will be without three of its most important draws. IGN has heard from multiple knowledgeable sources that Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo won't be a part of E3 2023 or have a presence on the Los Angeles show floor. That is so unfortunate, man. I'm like, dude, that is so sad. But we're going to be able to figure out why this is more so the case. And so, this comes from the heels of Xbox's announcement that it will be returning to Los Angeles for its annual summer showcase. However, the catch here is they never mentioned that, despite this being, in Los Angeles, they never mentioned that it would be in the Los Angeles Convention Center, which is where E3 takes place, nor have they said that, yes, this is about E3. So, this is basically, if you're able to connect the dots here, this is their own thing that they're doing around the same time that E3 usually is. And the article goes on to explain how, Phil Spencer spoke with the IGN. He said that, E3 is great, it's special, it's one of the most seminal moments of gaming, and that Microsoft is a part of the Entertainment Software Association, which, if you don't know, they basically, create E3. They help, make these events. And they are on the board of the ESA, and that ESA is critical for what Xbox is trying to do, but despite that, they're not really going to go there. Also, some other sad news about how Microsoft has been a little rough in terms of working there because they have been laying off a lot of their employees. Xbox's decision to not have a formal presence on E3's show floor comes as a surprise given its support for the event in the past. Out of the so-called Big Three, it appeared the most likely to be at E3, not the least because it has several major releases to promote in 2023, including Starfield. So that's basically Xbox's story here. They understand how E3 is very important and they value it a lot, but despite that, they're not going to do it. Let's talk about Nintendo. Nintendo has traditionally maintained a booth on E3's show floor, even after pioneering the direct format. However, IGN has heard from sources around the industry that neither Nintendo nor Sony will be at E3 2023. And with PlayStation originally dropping out in 2019 over reported disagreements with the Entertainment Software Association, it's currently unclear whether Nintendo and Sony intend to time a showcase with the event. So, yeah, Sony not being at E3 is expected because, they had a really good presentation in 2018, everyone loved it. Next year they decided, no, we're not going to do it, and it was a big deal. The next 2 years, they went online, then in 2022, it happened again, and now 2023, to no one's shock, Sony's not going to be there. So, it seems that there are some sort of disagreements or a lack of returning requests to whether they want to actually do this or not. So that definitely like contributed to what's been going on, which makes me think that maybe like these companies are really just starting to feel like we don't need E3. Like, with all due respect, we have other ways to like present our new games and projects, which I will talk about later on. So the next part is it talks about how it's a big blow for E3. And, you know, Microsoft, they're doing their own summer showcase. And yeah, that's basically like all you need to know about like what's been happening. Xbox is most outspoken about how they feel with E3, whereas Sony is like, we don't want to do it. And Nintendo is probably like, well, why do we even need to do it in the first place? And, you know, the thing about Nintendo, like I said in my other video, there's reports that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be their last like major release title other than Pikmin 4. So they probably don't have too much to show. They still might do a direct in the summertime, but it might not be like a massive one. It might be one of their mini directs. So I would say that the only way like they have something major planned is if they're going to like reveal their next system, which I don't think that will be this year. Maybe next year. That's all I really have to say about this article. If you want to read more about this article, I will put the link to it in the description so you can see like everything that is being said. Let's move on now. So like I said earlier, while E3 had still remained a joy, that didn't change the subtle decline that became more blatant as time went on. Why is E3 losing its appeal though? What is causing companies to deter from having a presence there? Well, it's time to bust out the list format that I've been using in my videos to figure out why. I'm just kidding, I will only present 2 reasons here. You see, to no one's surprise, hosting an event at an annual trade fair is going to be very expensive. We have been living in a more digitalized era for a while, and this allows businesses to figure out a way to present their upcoming projects while saving money. Before, there was just the Nintendo Direct. Now, there's a State of Play and an Xbox and Bethesda Developer Showcase. Wait, Xbox and Bethesda Showcase? In March 2021, Microsoft bought Bethesda, and before that, Bethesda had their own showcase beforehand in previous E3s, so that's just adding insult to injury. Back to my point, these companies can make their own presentations, formatted how they want, and premiere it whenever they want, and they will still retain identical viewership as they would for their E3 presentations. Viewership is the next thing I actually want to talk about. Remember that E3 is known around the world, and this is actually very common with the video game events. They aren't really something that mainly happens in their local area, but instead are reported across the world. So, of course, these streams are going to have a lot of viewers on platforms like YouTube and Twitch. Obviously, the viewership numbers make up an overwhelming majority of people watching, as compared to those who attend and watch in person. This small fraction of the in-person attendees probably have these companies thinking, why don't we just do it ourselves? Which goes back to the previous reason. Now, while the quality and viewing experience is not really as grand as a live E3 presentation would be, it makes more sense from a business perspective. Like, in the Game Awards, it probably costs much less to attend, since you just need your trailer, a few people who can introduce and talk about their product, and possibly something else of things that relate to a contract or anything behind the scenes. Another thing I want to bring up about viewership is the content creation side of it. Now for me, I would much rather attend the event, but this is not about me since I don't have a very big audience as of right now. Many content creators with a large platform would probably prefer to just react to gaming presentations from home because 1, they don't have to go through the process of traveling, making it more convenient, and 2, that's more content, although you can technically make your attendance at a place into a vlog, and 3, they can engage with their personal audience better. Well, that's what I gotta say about it. It is unfortunate, but realistically speaking, it makes sense. As far as what E3 is going to end up looking like this year, only time will tell, but I really do miss anticipating E3, and so do so many others, even when watching from home. The lively portrayal of introducing new games just made it so much more incredible. I mean, I guess now, the Game Awards are for that. At the end of the day, it's not like these other formats to showcase new games are bad per se, but E3 being a big deal contributed to when we can expect big things in the industry. Let me know how you feel about this news regarding E3 2023, and your thoughts on it, as well as some other possible theories on why this is happening. I hope you look forward to the next video.